Hi, my name is Robert Chelle with Chelle Law, and my law firm assists veterinarians with employment contract issues. Today I'm going to talk about how is veterinarian production calculated. So let's give a little rundown of kind of the productivity models. So in the veterinary industry, the ProSal method is used a lot, which basically takes a percentage of the collections. So whatever the practice received that are specific to the veterinarian's personally performed services, and then the vet would get a percentage of that. Many are just on straight base salary, so there is no productivity necessary, or at least they don't get paid more for seeing more, patients. So let's just take a net collections, percentage and talk about that. So as I said before, if you're on some kind of productivity based compensation model, there's really two ways of doing it, at least as far as most vets go. One would just be pure net collections, meaning you only get a percentage of what the practice receives from your services. And almost all vet agreements will have, almost a fee schedule. These are the things that you can bill for. And then these are the other things that will not count towards yours. So I don't know, maybe like any food that's bought from one of your patients would just go to the practice and not be, attributed to you, or maybe ongoing prescriptions after the first one. You need to look into that. Obviously, that varies based upon specialty, but they're usually very specific about the services that count towards the collections of the vet. So if you're on pure net collections, then that's just it. You'll get a percentage of what comes in, and then that's what you get paid. Usually it's, monthly. So they would just do an inventory of what the practice received that month, then the percentage would be taken, and then that's what the vet would get. Another way of doing it would be they would have some kind of draw. So let's just say they made $120,000 a year, and then they would say, so it's $10,000 a month. So they would say any of the net collections received above $10,000 a month. So after you kind of, reached your salary threshold, then you would get, for vets, 18% is kind of a standard amount. So then you get 18% of any of the collections received monthly above $10,000 a month. Or maybe they would do it quarterly. So then you get the 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, and then they would take any amounts received over the 30,000, and then you get 18% of what those net collections are. Now, in that model, usually if you have a negative balance, meaning you didn't bring in 10,000 per month, that negative balance will be carried forward. And now, if you're only generating 10,000 a month and you're getting paid 10,000 a month, something is very wrong as far as the practice goes. Normally, somewhere between like 35 to 40% of the revenues generated by a provider would actually go to the provider. The rest goes, contributes to overhead. So that's kind of the normal productivity model. Veterinarians don't generally use just encounters or RVUs. It's just usually straight net collections base. Now, a couple things you need to think about if you're entertaining an offer would be, especially in the vet industry lately, is just the lack of staffing. So do they have an appropriate amount of vet techs to assist the vet in providing, quick and efficient care? I know many vets who are having to do everything. They have to room the patients, they have to do the initial assessments and all that kind of stuff that a vet tech normally would do. They have to do that in addition to providing the care for the animal, and that makes the vet less efficient. So you need to make certain that they are staffed appropriately, that they are efficient, and that way it doesn't affect you if you are on one of these productivity-based models. If you're kind of entertaining a new job and the employer is not explicit about either what they're going to do to make sure they're appropriately staffed, or is kind of wishy-washy as far as, oh yeah, we've had problems, but you need hard data to determine if a job is worth taking or not. And if an employer is unwilling to give you any of that, you need to move on. you need to just find a better opportunity. The places that are kind of, I don't know if sneaky is the right word, but secretive about their numbers or staffing or anything like that, that is a huge red flag. And that would be some place that you most likely want to avoid. I think the vet industry is probably more simple than some of the others because it's usually just a straight base net collection, pure net collections, or a hybrid of that. And I mean, it's, in my opinion, pretty easy to understand, but you need to make certain the negative balance part is usually the biggest concern for most vets. And so you need to make certain that how much you're at risk of a negative balance carrying forward. And especially, this is like the most important thing in this video. If you're joining a practice and your net collections from the very beginning, and they're carrying forward negative balances, and you make, and again, if you make 120,000 a year, if you're just establishing a patient base, it will take you time to get up to speed. And whatever that threshold is, you may carry a negative balance forward, and you might be in the hole, tens of thousands of dollars in the first couple months. So you want to make certain that there's some kind of like guaranteed base draw that won't be held against you for those first few months while you're building up a practice. Usually it takes 12 to 18 months for a practice to reach maturity. Now, if you're coming in and replacing a vet that's just left, well, obviously you have an established base, therefore it'll you'll get up to speed quicker. But if you're just building from scratch and you're on pure net collections, it's going to be lean in the first few months. So anyway, hopefully that was helpful. If you have any questions about your employment contract, you can always contact my law firm at the phone number listed below in the description, or you can reach us through our website, chellelaw.com. So anyway, appreciate you watching the video. Thanks.